So tonight we're going to start a project. I kind of feel like I was going to originally just do this beforehand and then introduce it and talk about it, but what the hey, let's just make some videos out of me spending all day doing this. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to make a game that's going to use an Arduino, and so it's going to be a microcontroller project, but we are going to do some IC stuff. And so the game is going to be that one-dimensional Pong game, which if you've never seen it before, I'd Google it. But basically the idea is, I believe, because I've never ever played it, but you have a strip of LEDs and the little light goes, or you have like basically a light that goes backwards and forwards, or a ball that goes backwards and forwards, whichever way you want to represent it. And one player has a button and the other player has a button, and they've got to press the button at just the right time to bounce the ball back. And so it's sort of like a game, and I'm guessing as you go along the ball moves faster and faster and faster. And my one, I actually want to have two separate so I'm going to use LEDs, and it's going to be like a line of LEDs, but I'm going to have two separate sets. So basically the player is going to sit like this, so they're going to have one hand for this button, one button for this side, and one button for that side, and there's another player over here with two buttons as well. And they're going to press a button, and they've got to sort of like manage both things moving to get randomly at the same time. Well, they're not going to move randomly, but the point is they're going to be out of sync. So you've got to press the button there, and you've got to press the button there, and then sometimes they'll be in sync, so you have to press them at the same time, and then hopefully that will be kind of a fun little game. But I only want to use one Arduino, and there's only so many pins. I was going to have carefully, of course, not brought Arduino out to show, but I can. Hold on. Where is... Oh, it's not in that one. Hold on. Let's just get it up. It's right here. Okay. So here's one. So this one here, these are these are called pins, even though they're not pins. So this is where you plug your input and outputs in. So what you can do, of course, is you can plug an LED onto each little output and then use that. So then you can control each LED individually, and that could work, but there's only so many pins. There's like 13 here, and then there's like the analog ones over here. So you're not really going to, like, I guess you can do like a 10 LED thing, but that's kind of boring. But the important thing to know with the Pong game, only one LED in a line is ever on at a time. So we're going to use that little fact. So this game is never going to be able to, well, that's not strictly true, but we'll just say for now, it's never going to be able to have more than one LED on. So this is going to be like a thing, but we're going to, in return, we're going to be able to have, so I'm aiming to have 20 LEDs, but we might just have 15 or something. And we're going to use the special IC, and today's IC that we're going to use, so this is like a very, very common IC, integrated circuit. So it's like the 4049 we've done before, but now we're going to use the 4017. And if you ever do any kit sets with any sort of thing, like maybe a little electronic dice, I'll bring out an electronic dice and show you one working. But quite often they use a 4017, and a 4017 is this really weird looking chip at first, which just basically counts to 10. So it has this clock input here, and every time you pulse the clock input, so every time it goes from low to high voltage, the output moves along one. So there's basically, these are all the output pins, and the annoying thing, of course, is that they are in a kind of bizarre order. So they don't go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which would be nice. They kind of go all over the show, so the wiring's always a bit strange. But it will go from, so this is like output with 0. So when you pulse the clock, it will go to 1, and then to 2, and then to 3, which is over there, and then to 4, and so on, and then back again to 0, and you can go over and over again. And you don't have to go all the way to 10. You can in fact do a little trick where you use that to go into the reset thing. So when the reset goes high, so there's a reset pin here, when this goes high, it resets back to 0 again, and so you can only count, if you want, you can only count to 6 and so on and so on. So there's lots of circuits. So we're going to do a circuit at some point where we're going to make a replacement spinner thing for the game, what's it called, Twister, using just these things and no microcontrollers, but it's still going to have like a little output display that says interesting information. And we're going to use a couple of these, but this case we're going to use it simply to make the thing go back. And you're going to say straight away, if you're thinking about this, well, this only, if you know anything about this chip, it only goes in one direction. So you can only go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and back to 0. You can't go back again. And so if you have your LEDs and they're in a line, then it would seem like you can't have it bouncing backwards and forwards. But we're going to do a little trick, and we're going to use the microcontroller to do this. But the whole point of this is hopefully we can get 20 LEDs in a line using only 2 of these things and only a couple of these pins. So we're going to need a pin for the reset, and we're going to need a pin for the clock, and we're going to need a little secret, little thing here. We're going to need another pin for the enable. So that's 3 pins we're going to need per line. So if we're going to have 2 sets of these, so 20 on each, we should be able to. Actually, we're going to need. Sorry, we're going to need 4. We need 2 enables, as well as, so we need 1 reset, 1 clock, and 2 enables because there's 2 4017s per line. So 4 pins times 2, so we have 8, and so we've got, actually, since we've got 13, we're going to have a whole bunch of leftover pins for the buttons and any extra lights and stuff that we want to use. So let's just see if we can get this to work. And we're going to start off. So this video is just me going to be sitting around putting things in. So I don't know how that's going to work, but let's just see how fast we can do this. What one is of these? It says white, so I kind of want a whole bunch. It doesn't really matter too much. What are these? It says, well, I'm going to bring out, because I don't know what color those are. I'm going to bring, these are tiny ones. We don't want the tiny ones. I don't really want them to be, I kind of want them to be white. So I'm just going to make sure, because some of the white ones that I've got, it says CW, which I'm assuming means clear white. Or something like this. But I have my LED tester. And so we can test LEDs. And it's a white one, and it works. And sometimes that's actually quite handy to test these, because you do get the occasional one that doesn't work. So let's see how we're going to do this. We've got to just get a pattern. It's going to be messy at first. So the idea is we'll do this prototyping. We'll just see if we can actually fit. So I'm going to have another separate board. We'll just use one of these standard little things over here to actually have the 4017s on, and then we'll have wires coming out all the way along the side, and then the button can be separate. Well, we'll see actually. Let's actually leave a bit of room for the button, and go. We don't need these little bags, and we'll just see how many of these we can get in. So we're only this kind of board. I'm using this simply because I've got like a whole lot of them, because I bought a whole lot a long time ago. So the best thing to do with this is to have the long leg going in a consistent direction. So the long leg is going to go towards me. So this is the positive side towards me, which I guess that makes sense if you're watching this. And we don't need too much room, so we don't want them touching each other. And let's just pour them all out. So let's go crazy and see if we can do this. And if not, so I basically want to do this quickly, and then we'll see if we can wire up at least one of the 4017s. So the way that they often do like random dice thing, of course, is that all it's doing is the chip is counting. So the simplest way of doing this is just to have 6 LEDs, and they're connected up to the 4017. And it just counts through from 1 to 6 or 0 to 5, however you're going to look at it. We should start counting from 0 because that's how computers work. But anyway, going from 1 to 6. So, and just doing that over and over again really, really fast. but it's only doing that when you hold down the button. And so when you let go of the button, it's been zooming through so fast, like it would have gone through, like, you know, 1,000 or 20,000 shifts while you hold down the button for a fraction of a second or something. That's kind of what you want. So you want it all to be like a big blur when you hold the button down. And then when you let go, of course, it will just end up at it will stop at some random position, and that's how you get a random dice. But if you want to do a cleverer one, then you have to play a few tricks. And we'll talk about that, because I've got one. I've seen the ones that do that, and there's actually like a standard one where you have like the little dice layout. That seems to be the most effective, and we can kind of discuss that, though I've seen that it's been done on other channels, so we don't want to spend too much time on that kind of stuff. So I should actually be counting these things. So there's 5 there. I don't think we're going to get 20 on the whole line, and I'm going to later on change these so that these ones down here will be red or something. So that's your buffer zone, so you've got to press the button when like these two are lit up. So either of these two are lit up when they're coming down this way, and then that will count as I've hit it. So we've got 5, and then we've got, I think, another 5. This is right, and then we've got another 5. And we need. I think this will be enough. So, and then we've got room for our buttons. So I'm going to take this thing apart. So you can't see this, but this was my example. Whatchamacallit. 4049 rebuild, but I've got the original one somewhere, and we're going to stick with that one. So I'm going to go back to the previous video on this channel, is a discussion about 4019s continued, and we're going to go back to that because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it right, and I've got a better way of testing it. So we'll come back next video. I was going to do it today, but I thought, well, let's get this going, because it will take a while. So the idea is, once you've got this sussed out, then we will, he says, well, let's just see what we can, we want to get something showing up tonight. So I don't know if I'm going to put, because I feel like, so I'm going to put these little tiny wires. So these, so, that was a terrible wire to use. So we'll just do a couple of these. So this is going to be the negative rail, or the ground rail here. So we're going to have to plug the ground off the microcontroller into that, and for it to get. So all I have to do is I just have to plug the short leg on all of these. Oh dear, this is what I feel like I actually should have moved it. Okay, we should move it to the, because otherwise I don't have the room. So it's going all the way into the middle. And then there, because that would be fine. This is tricky. So we're only going to do so many, because I don't want a video of me spending hours doing that. And I can't even aim properly. It's got to go into the right line, because I want to try and get something where it works at the end of each video. So we'll have, and we'll get out my little pulse generator. Oh, that one's terrible. We're not going to use that one. Oh my goodness. Okay, we'll just try and get 4 or 5 of these done, and then we will move on to getting out our chips and seeing the general process. And then I think for that, that's too long. I'm going to use up all the short ones. They really should, like for these packets of things here, they should really just sell you, like, you know, you want like a couple of hundred of little tiny ones, because that's the main one you're really using all the time. That's what I use. Like, nobody ever uses the long ones. I just cut the long ones up with the wire clippers and make new ones. So I mean, you need like, no, you're never gonna, like, I mean, I guess you want to link from one end to there, but that's where this kind of stuff works. So I would just chop this one up and then make little small ones. But I feel like they should just sell them that way, instead of having to go through this silliness. But that's the way things go. So I think we can get, how many have we got? What time have we got? It's 14 minutes. Okay, this is like becoming you've got to be careful because it will become an obsession. And the other tricky thing we have to worry about with these things is that this rail here, this line, is not actually one continuous rail. So there are in fact breaks along here, and I think on these ones there's 2 breaks, so I think it goes to here. So you kind of have to bridge these gaps, and I probably should have done that before I put those ones on. I think that's where the gap is, and so then you need another one to bridge the other gap, and I'm guessing it's about there. So that's something to be wary of. And the larger ones of the other style also have a gap. So these actually come in a longer version, and so there's also, I think, a gap on those as well. To be honest, I usually just stick with the smaller ones and link them together because that's what they kind of work. So you can put them like this. So in fact the longer ones are pretty much just like this. They're just 2 mixed together, and there's a gap in the middle which you have to link over. So once we've done this, we can now just put this in here, and that is, so we won't run it off the microcontroller yet because we haven't got that far. I just want to know what I did with the little power supply thing. It's over here. Alright, so this thing here is going to be charged up, and we'll put that on. So the first thing we'll do is we'll test that we've got this thing kind of working. So this one's just going to go straight to there, but in the final version it's just going to connect to one of the ground pins on here. And we're going to have these things, so these wires, it's going to look a bit unsightly. We probably will use this thing. So here's a whole bunch of these, and they haven't been taken apart yet. But let's actually rip them off in groups. So that one, I just threw that one away. So hopefully, if we're not too silly about this, it can look reasonably nice. But of course, the final version, the aim is in the final version, I'll just make up lots of little wired up LEDs. So I'll solder on wires to the legs with their little resistors. That's the other thing I've just forgotten all about, is the resistors. So I knew there was something I was forgetting. So these things are going to be unsightly. An unsightly mess. What we might do, and now I feel bad that I shouldn't have moved it along. Is there an easy way of doing this? Probably not. Okay. So this is where things are going to get very tricky. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them like this. I don't think I should have bent it quite like that. And then I'm going to get out my safety glasses. Because safety first, I'm putting on my safety glasses, and then I'm going to, even though I'm going to hold it like this, cut it like that. So then you've got a little chip, a little thing that looks like this, and then I can put that across there. Oh, they're going to play hard to put in, aren't they? Oh, they are going to play very hard to put in. That's just mean. That's the only problem with this breadboard thing, is that it's not that easy to put in. That seems to be okay. And so the idea then is, let's just test this out. We'll use the other wire. So I'm going to bring this up close so you can see what I did. So this wire has gone into the shorter leg because I put them all with the shorter. I did, didn't I? Oh my goodness. No, I didn't. That's right, we just went through this. So I've gone and done them all the wrong way. So we'll just turn them around one by one. Well, that was unexciting. So now I'm going to do it so that the shorter leg is going this way. Because I want the shorter leg. And I'm going to swap out, when I've done this, even though you can actually tell when you look at it which way around they're going. So this is where I was up to, I think. So I'm just going to chuck this guy in as a random marker spot. So that's where I'm up to. So the idea is that this one is the negative and it goes into here, into the short leg, so the negative bit. But the positive is going to come in via the resistor into here. Oh, that's right. We don't really need the resistor, do we? Actually, there's an easier way of doing this. So what we'll do, I don't know if we need the resistor, because when my previous experience with the 4017 is that you don't really seem to need a resistor when you go out. But I'm not going to waste my time with lots of resistors. But the point is, of course, is that because only one LED is ever on at a time, you only need one resistor. So that's quite neat. That's what we're going to do. So instead of this being the negative rail, this is the negative rail that goes into via a resistor first. So everything will have its current limiting resistor already done for it, because they're all going to share the same one. I don't know if I've explained why that will work, but the current, it will be fine. Trust me, it will be fine. But my usual experience is that you can just go straight to ground if the output is coming out of. Did I plug it into the right one? I did. If it's coming out of, well, that didn't work. That's a terrible letdown for the whole thing. Well, let's just see if we put that one in there. Okay, so the jump is obviously not there. It must be the one across here. So that's what I mean. So if I put that there, and then I put this over here, this is actually no longer connected. But if I put it over here, it is connected. So these three are connected. So we then have to put. So it goes in groups of 3. That just seems a bit. Okay, mental note, groups of the first 3, and I'm guessing the last 3, and then the ones in between, because I'm pretty sure there's just three separate groups. And now we can attach it to there, because I've linked those bits up. So there's a bit of wire going through here, and then there's a bit of wire going through here. So I think that one's actually in the correct spot. And we can actually work this out by putting it over on the end. So we've now connected all these up. So that works, and the next one works, and the next one works, and the next one works, and that one works, and that one works, and that one works. Right, so jolly good. Let's get out from our packet. Oh, running out of time already. The anti-static packet. So you have to be careful with these things, because you can break them with static. So I don't know if these are originals or cheap Chinese ones. But I've never had one that doesn't work. It looks like it's got like the Texas Instrument logo on it, but that doesn't mean anything. Oh my goodness, my fingers are all covered in stuff. Alright, well, let's get this in there. And we're going to try and wire up just 2 of them. So this is going to be a lot of complicated bits and pieces. Which is, I like that, because then it's going to look cool. Because that's what people are going to say. They're going to say, hey, you've got all these ICs. So let's get out our book, and we've got to first hook up. Before we do anything, I don't know if we're going to get anything exciting happening. Oh yeah, so the static electricity, you have to be careful that keep things in their bag when you're not using them. Having said that, I've yet to actually break one of these things. They do have this anti-static circuitry on the inside, but that only really makes a difference if they're in circuit or they're on the board. It doesn't really protect it if you're handling it in your hands. Though I've never been the kind of person who's a very staticky person. Okay, so we have to look at the picture just quickly. I'm going to come into here and do this. Turn that off because I don't want to go while we're doing it. So the pin 16, so remember there's a little circle here and then there's a circle picture here. So this is pin 16. That one's the positive. So we have to hook that up to the positive line. This thing should run from, they usually run from 3 to more than like 15 volts. According to this, it's 3 to 15 volts. I read somewhere that 3 was not actually a very good, it's not really sufficient, but they seem to work fine with 3 volts in my previous experience. So this is these are a little bit too long, which is a shame. Where's the green one? Here's the green one. So we should try. I kind of like, you want to get. So according to this, 8 is the ground. And so we have to put that in. Oh, I think we're going to run out of time, but we'll keep going. We'll keep going. And we need to tie the reset pin to low. So that's the worst one in the world. That one. I'm just going to put it. It's going to go around. Oh, that's even worse. All right, it's going to go up in the air. I've bent it. So reset has to go to ground because we don't want to reset it. Not yet. Later on, we are going to do that because that's how we're going to control everything. But I'm not going to give too much away until we get to that point, because how I'm planning to do this. And then the enable, I guess, has to go high. So enable is pin number 13. So that's one more down. So there, I think I had to pick the most ridiculous one to use. We're going to use that one. So I'm guessing it goes high. So when it's not high, all the lights go off, and that's going to be an important feature that we're going to need. And so we've got the clock, and we've got to have some outputs. So let's just get a couple of outputs, and it doesn't really matter at the moment. So there are 3 outputs. Okay, we'll just take all these 3 off. There are 3 outputs here. Oh my goodness, I hate these things sometimes. Stop being so rubbish. But then again, like, is it possible to make these any better? Like, maybe it's not. Maybe it's impossible. It's just you're wishing too much if you want them to be stronger, given the current technology that we have. But I'm sure you could. Alright, so there's one more pin that we have ignored, which is pin number 12, which is the one that goes there. But that's just the output, a different kind of output. So we don't care about that one. But let's get this plugged into here. 1 minute and 58 seconds. We can actually do this. Alright, so that one's going to go there. That one's going to go there. And that one's going to go there. Alright, and now we need our clock input, and unfortunately I've completely forgotten where I put those clock things, which is really disappointing. We'll just have to make it out of... what are we going to do if we don't have the clock? Alright, well, we don't have a clock, so we're going to take the clock thing and we're going to attach it to a button, which is a bad way of doing it. So this thing is going to be, actually, we're going to run out of time. Oh, I wish I hadn't lost them. I'm going to ruin the button. I have ruined the button. Alright, we have 57 seconds left. We should just turn it on and see what happens. We can do this. What we'll do is we'll just do it by hand. So we'll turn it on, and then we'll put this on. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? I think I'm going to have to look at this a bit more. Okay. Output, pin. Alright. It's not going to work. Did I put everything? I did. I connected that up. That's powered on. We need a better clock output. Okay, we will come back to this next time. So I'll make a short video if I can find the clock thing. Alright, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.